So I reviewed two HP Omen laptops this year and I asked myself, why stop here? So here is another all-new HP Omen gaming laptop, this time with 17-inch screen and Intel i7 13th Gen CPU and RTX 4060 GPU. So let's find out how this laptop is any better than the other Omen laptops and answer to questions like, is it better to buy a 17-inch gaming laptop? Is there any difference in performance with the 17-inch as compared to 16-inch? How is the user experience of this particular laptop? And the age-old question, is it worth buying? Starting off with some general specifications, this laptop comes with Core i7 13700HX with 16 cores and 24 threads, RTX 4060 with 8GB of DDR6 VRAM, 16GB of DDR5 RAM clocked at 4800 MHz, and a 512GB Gen 4 SSD. Now let's take a look at the laptop itself. It has a plastic chassis as before with the old Omen logo making a reappearance. I really like the new one, but it's good too I guess, and it also has the Omen branding on the keyboard which reads O17, which is good in case someone doesn't understand that you have a 17-inch Omen laptop. The build quality is good enough with a bit of top lid flex which is to be expected with a bigger 17.3-inch screen, but still it doesn't feel cheap. It has no keyboard flex and that's the camera that's shaking, not the keyboard, which suggests a good build quality but poor camera skill. Its dreaded HP Omen wobble has also made a reappearance in this laptop. I guess we expected too much from HP. As usual, the wobble is great enough to wobble under a high-speed fan. The overall design of this laptop is quite subtle, which allows it to be used in formal settings as well. And it also has a very subtle looking keyboard, unlike Asus or Acer. However, its keyboard does not have a numpad included, but has these macro keys on the left, which can be programmed in the Omen Gaming Hub. It has somewhat tight hinges, as although it can be opened with one hand when the lid is completely closed, but when the lid is already a little open and then you try to open it, the laptop lifts up. Not a very smooth experience. The screen goes back to only 120 degrees, which limits its use in various postures. It has 4 zones of RGB which do not do anything. Seriously, no effects whatsoever. Just static lights. Seriously, HP? Moving on, the keyboard experience is good with good key travel and no accidental trackpad touches. Talking about which, it has a good big size trackpad with multi-gesture support, but it's hard to click on the upper side of the trackpad. It has narrow bezels on the sides and on top, but it has a big chin at the bottom which does not really bother in normal day-to-day usage. It has 2 air exhaust vents on the left side and on the right side, air exhaust vent on the back side and a big air intake vent on the bottom. It has dimensions of 15.64 inches by 10.32 inches by 1.06 inches and weighs around 2.8 kgs, which along with its sharp corners does not feel handy and comfortable to hold. Talking about the screen, it has a 17.3-inch IPS anti-glare QHD panel with a native resolution of 2560 by 1440, an aspect ratio of 16 by 9, a refresh rate of 144 Hz, color gamut of 100% sRGB, 1000 by 1 contrast ratio, 300 nits brightness, and 3 millisecond response time. Now the screen is good enough to do any task, be it gaming or creative workload. I would like to say that bigger is not always better, as a bigger screen with a bigger resolution means more load on the GPU and hence chances of lower frame rates. This can also be seen in the performance section, so keep that in mind. Talking about some special features, it has a mux switch but no advanced Optimus. It has a 87 Watt-hour battery which will last about 3 to 4 hours in normal usage and 1 hour of gaming. These low numbers can also be due to a bigger screen as it consumes more energy, and thus it comes with a 330 watt heavy charger to feed its hunger. It has a Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3. It has a 720p webcam with temporal noise reduction. It has 2 downfiring speakers of 2 watt each by Bang & Olufsen, which sound good and loud enough. Now let's take a look at the ports. It has 3 USB Type-A ports and only 1 USB Type-C port. Starting from the left, it has 1 power port, 1 RJ45 Ethernet port, 1 USB Type-A 3.2 Gen 2 port, 1 display port which is a rare thing nowadays but also somewhat needless, 1 HDMI 2.1 port which gives output of 8K 60Hz, 1 USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 3 port which for some reason was not giving any video output on my unit, 1 audio mic combo jack and 1 full-sized SD card reader. On the right side, it has two USB Type A 3.2 ports, and there are no ports on the back side. Ports wise, it is just okay, as most devices use Type A ports, and it does have 3 USB Type A ports, which is good. And not many devices use Type C port, so it only offers one USB Type C port, which is not a Thunderbolt port, mind you. My problem is, I would still prefer to have more Type C ports because, well, why not? As most laptops have at least two nowadays. Secondly, there are no ports on the back. Again, a huge missed opportunity for HP for a cleaner looking setup. But that's my personal opinion, and these things may not matter to most of you. Talking about the upgradability, this laptop has two RAM slots with a maximum capacity of 16 GB at 4800 MHz per slot, giving it a total of 32 GB. It has two M.2 slots for Gen 4 SSD up to 2 TB per slot with a form factor of 2280, and it has one M.2 upgradable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card. It comes with Omen Gaming Hub as HP's control and customization software, which offers a variety of features like vitals monitoring, undervolting, network boost, lighting for keyboard, performance control, which are basically the thermal profiles, GPU switcher for mux switch, macro key control to customize macro keys, manual fan control, which is again a rare thing in gaming laptop nowadays. This software is good, providing fair amount of customization and control for a better user experience. The performance benchmarks of this laptop also gave an outstanding result, with a Cinnamon scoring 21,156 in multi-core and 1887 in single-core performance. Geekbench scored 13,780 in multi-core and 2513 in single-core. 3D Mark TimeSpy scored 14,687 in CPU, 17,371 in GPU, and 11,408 overall score. The scores are really good, suggesting that this laptop can be used for all these tasks, as it has a much more powerful CPU and GPU with 8 GB of RTX 4060. I gathered some gaming data for the usual AAA titles which were tested in the following conditions on this laptop, and here are the results. As you can see, it gave a decent performance in all these AAA titles and lived up to its hardware of i7 13th Gen and RTX 4060, but I still feel that given its 8 GB of VRAM and 13th Gen of i7, the performance could have been a bit better, as this level was almost achieved by HP Omen with i7 and RTX 4050, which is one level lower than 4060. So the gap is explainable by the fact that it does have a bigger screen, which means more load on GPU to render bigger frames. But this is still speculation on my part, as I have not yet tested any i7 13th Gen with 4060 on a 16-inch Omen gaming laptop. So take that with a grain of salt. In conclusion, I would like to say that this laptop is a good choice for people who like to have a bigger screen, people who need a bigger screen for editing purposes, and people who will not be carrying this laptop much, as well, it is not very portable. Some other issues with this laptop might be that it does not include a numpad, it has a very boring RGB lighting, it does have a screen wobble issue, it has only one USB Type-C port, which is not a Thunderbolt 4 port in 2023. There are no ports on the back side, and the two USB Type-A ports that are there are on the right side, which may come in contact with hands while using the peripherals. But nevertheless, the performance of this beast is massive and will deliver any task you throw at it. So go for it by all means. If you liked the review, please like the video, dislike if you didn't, tell me about it in the comment section, and consider subscribing for more videos like this.